Hello, I'm Bill Barney with All Things Possible TV, and I invite you here today. I have an exciting topic to talk to you about today. This is something I've been wanting to explain for a while, and that is to talk about my 12-week course. It's called the Precepts of Light course in energy medicine. It is for people to learn to be energy healers, to do energy medicine work, to be practitioners of the healing arts. And there is just so much involved in this course, and people ask me, it's like, wow, it's really hard to tell you in just a few sentences. So this is for those who would like to know more about what they will gain by taking this fantastic 12-week course. Just a little bit about this. I've been doing energy work since 1975. When I was 15 years old, I got first introduced to this and started doing this kind of work. My mother introduced it to me, and we was doing the foot reflexology and a few other things back then, and it's been a passion of mine. And over the past 40 plus years, I've just been learning everything I could. It's just been a passion for me to learn all these new things that are coming out, to where I've acquired quite a vast knowledge of different types of energy medicine. And so I put together this course, picking the cream of the crop, those modalities, those techniques and processes that we could do, that I could teach somebody to do within 20 minutes. So you're not going to learn one technique here that takes you weeks or months. You're going to learn 14 different techniques, modalities here in this course, and you'll do it over a period of 12 weeks. And my parameters is I have to be able to teach it to somebody in 20 minutes, and they can be really good at it within 20 minutes. And then of course as they practice, they'll get better. But I like the simple. I want to give people a wide variety, a large base of tools to draw from, so they're not a one-trick pony when they go in and try to help themselves, their loved ones, or even if they want to open a practice and work with clients. So with that explanation, with this 12-week course, let me just tell you a little bit about what that is. It's designed to have there are six online training modules. And these, you will get a new link every other week, and these modules are about 90 minutes long, and they are jam-packed. When you watch these modules, you get ready to drink from a fire hose. I throw this information at so fast. I probably have to slow it down and give less information, but then there would be less information. And so most people find that they want to watch this 2-3 times or even more. They'll review the online training module because the information comes so fast to where they can absorb it all. And also with that, even after someone has long completed the course, for years afterwards, they have access to go back and watch these modules as often as they would like, to review all the information that's in there. The course is designed so 12 weeks, you get 6 modules, 2 weeks apart. And then right after you have the first module, you have your first session with me, and that's a one-on-one personalized intuitive healing session or clearing session. And that is where we work with you, and I work with you to clear out your stuff, your challenges that you're having, your issues, be it emotional, physical problems, whatever. And I use and teach and make sure you understand the tools in each consecutive module. It builds, we start and we build a nice base, and then we build on top of that, layer upon layer upon layer. And as we do the work with you, then we apply the tools that you're learning, so you learn how to do that and have practical application of these energy medicine tools. So along with each module, you get 3 to 4 handouts with each module. And these are quick review handouts that will help you. You can just overlook or look them over, and they'll give you a quick review of a different technique or a process or something, so you can thumb through your little notebook that you'll put together and go, oh yeah, that's how we do this, because there's so much information coming so fast. With that, so it's 1 week you get a training module, 1 week you have a session with me, the next week you have a training module and then a session with me. Well, what happens if you have vacation or something? Well, you know what, we can work with you and just set the schedule back that much. So it's very much an individualized thing. I work with you at your convenience, and again, you can watch these modules as much as you want. We schedule the sessions. They can be done either in person or online. Most of them I do online because the people aren't that close here in the Salt Lake area to me, and they are just as effective, I promise you, whether you're outside of the United States or in another state completely or wherever. It's just as effective. We do these courses through Zoom or Skype or something. Well, I prefer Zoom. And it's very effective with the way that I do this work and the things that I'll be teaching. So, along with there's 14 healing techniques that can help you release years of trauma and emotional pain, and sometimes in seconds or in moments. And then there's, on top of that, with everything together, there's 14 different tools that can help you in your energy medicine work. So instead of just learning one thing, one modality, be it the emotion code or Reiki or whatever, you have a large toolbox to draw from. Now, if you already have several healing techniques that you do, this will supplement that. It will be frosting on the cake. It adds to that. If you're just getting started and don't know where to begin, this gives you the great foundation and some good tools. And then as as I help you identify what your gifts are, you can add other things that you choose to, maybe that might take more time. And then I can help guide you where you might go to find the courses that will help you grow through your gifts and unique talents. But this course in and of itself, it gives you a very broad range, and it'll complement whatever else you may be doing if you've learned some other modalities. So, then you have a large toolbox. If all you've got is a hammer, then everything that you work on is a nail, right? But if you have this large toolbox, you talk to the client and you say, okay, what's your biggest challenge right now? What's frustrating to you? And it can be an emotional problem, something they might go to a therapist, a counselor, a psychiatrist for, or something they might go to the doctor for. And you'll have the tools to address these situations and various different tools to use to be more effective. And so what I'd like to do is just take a moment and go through the 6 modules and tell you some of the things that you will learn in each of these modules. Now, it becomes very individual with our personal sessions. Sometimes I spend a lot more time, and I even teach people things that aren't in the course because intuition tells me this person needs to know that this is within their gifts and that's right for them. With the first module, we're building a base. We talk about muscle testing and intuition in that. Now, I've had several people take my course that were already quite proficient energy workers. And yet, even taking this course, says, yes, I do muscle testing, I'm good with that. But every one of them says, wow, I gained so much from that. The things that I thought were just basic, I learned so much more to add to what I had. So, the whole base of this course is everything is about intuition. Instead of going through a chart, oh, if you have headaches, if you have anxiety, we're going to do A, B, C, and D. We throw that chart out the window, and we just go to intuition. What does intuition tell me that this person needs to have, whatever imbalance needs to be corrected? So we use intuition. So I really do stress muscle testing. And beyond that, you can be an awesome muscle testing, but if you don't know the right question to ask or how to phrase that question, you're only a fraction of as effective as you could be with knowing and using the art of the question. So that's a big thing that I share in this, is the art of the question. And we go through several different ways to phrase questions, and I have yet have anybody go through the course that says, wow, I never thought about these things in this way, regardless of whether they were just learning to muscle test or they'd been muscle testing for years. So the art of the question. Then I talk about the intuitive senses. Sometimes we just expect things to know, and we have so many different types of senses rather than just knowing or muscle testing. And I teach people to start fine-tuning and noticing these. And I want to realize I've been getting intuition and inspiration all along, but I wasn't interpreting it as such. It was just junk in the wind. And so I teach people to pay attention to those. Head to heart. The big thing is to get out of your head and go to your heart. Quit thinking and analyzing and just trust and know. And I teach techniques to get out of your head and go to your heart. That can be one of the most confusing things. And yet I teach a simple elevator technique that people just thought, oh my gosh, that is so easy to make that shift and operate from our heart space, from the space of our spirit. And then another thing I share with you is how you can gain so much information, especially about your purpose in life, through your dreams, if you know how to get that information out of your dreams, to be able to muscle test and to be able to intuit what your dreams are telling you, because most of the time when we receive inspiration through our dreams, it isn't a direct message. You need to go to the corner of 4th and Main. It'll be something symbolic, and we have to understand how that symbolism works. And so I teach you that. It isn't a list of, if you dream of sand, it means this. If you dream of water, it means you need to go to the bathroom or whatever that is. It's not that type of a dream interpretation. It's learning to understand what your intuition, what your subconscious mind is trying to tell you. Fantastic, all the information that is there. So, in the handouts that come with Module 1 is the art of the question, top tips for muscle testing, basic muscle testing, and then an emotional spiral. And that's a whole chart and a thing on understanding how our emotions stack together and how to shift from negative to positive. It's a great visual and a great little training. That all comes in Module 1. Now 2 weeks later, after you've had your first clearing session with me, then we go into grounding and protection. And you've heard about grounding, you may have heard about shielding, but I teach you to do this in ways that are simple to where you can ground in moments, you can shield up in moments, and it's amazing what kind of things will influence you if you don't do this and how much better we can be. And so I teach you grounding, shielding, and protection. We talk about crystals. There's a lot of energy in crystals. What crystals to use as an energy worker if you choose. Which ones can kind of help you and introduce you into the world of crystals. This is not a course on crystals, but I suggest some things that you can do that you can add to. And then later on, if that is a thing that's a passion for you, I had one client that went through my course that created a whole business creating crystal grids after doing the course. Sometime after, that was really her gift, and she zeroed in on that. It's not my intention to give you a master's degree in crystals or any other one thing while we're doing this. I want to have a basic understanding and a good feel for that as you're doing that. So, angels, super important. How do we work with angels? What are angels? I talked to you about how I use angels daily and in every single session that I do. And it multiplies the effectiveness of the work that I do. So much more work can be done when you work with angels in the way that I teach you. And again, I teach simple. A big thing that people don't, one, they don't talk about much, and two, they don't know much about is unclean spirits. We call them entities, unclean and evil entities. And there are so many more layers. It's so much more complex than we can even imagine. And I teach people how to easily detect the right questions to ask to detect these spirits, and then how to simply get rid of them without any drama. It's a beautiful process. It's done with love and compassion, and they always go easily, quickly, and without any kickback of some of the negative experiences you may have seen on or heard from friends, or you see these shows about things like that. Nothing really dark like that, but it is something to be important, or something to be addressed in working with energy medicine. Also, we talk about cording, having ties or cords with other person, how it can be corded to certain things or certain belief systems, negative, incorrect, unconscious program or whatever, how to cut these cords. And I teach, again, simple methods, nothing complicated. I've had a lot of people say, oh yeah, I've cut cords, and I show them what I do, and they, oh, that's so much simpler. Yeah, I get it now. That makes sense to me. So there's a script that we go through to where you can shield up. I teach you the script in the handouts. I have a shielding script. Also, the phraseology, the prayer, if you will, that you use to release these negative spirits and just have them be gone, and there's no big drama. So I have an outline for how to actually release these spirits. I have a handout on toxic perfectionism. And that is something, it's just something to be aware of, that we get so caught up in having to be perfect that we hurt ourselves. And so there's a handout on that, on understanding that, putting in another perspective to realize that even with all your imperfections, you're still in a path of perfection. And so that is something beautiful there. So that's Module 2. Then a week later, we have a session with you. The next week, you get Module 3. Here we talk about the energy systems and some rapid healing techniques. So we've been building a foundation and learning to do some things. So on Module 3, I talk and help you understand what the 7 chakras are. Again, I'm not going to give you a master's degree in chakraology or whatever that that's not a word, but in understanding working with chakras. We talk about the 12 main meridians. Okay, to understand some of the energy systems of the body, the things that don't show up in anatomy class. We talk about working with sound frequencies, with tuning forks. I talk about the emotion code. I don't teach it, but if you learn a muscle test, the emotion code is quite simple. You buy that book from Dr. Bradley Nelson and get started on that. I do suggest people really incorporate that. It's so powerful. We go into the emotional freedom technique. That's EFT. A lot of people have heard this and done it, and it's tapping, where you tap and you say a statement while you're tapping. Well, that's very powerful, but I've run into a lot of people who says, yeah, I took a course and I learned it and it doesn't really work that well. The way I teach this, the simplicity of it, the way I apply it, I've had person after person say, wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize it was so powerful the way I was doing it before. So when you see, oh, EFT, that's no big deal, I already do that. We were going to learn a new way, a simpler way to understand that and put that to work. There's an introduction to the aura and to your aura, to more of your energies and shielding yourself through that. Tachyon healing. I'll bet you haven't heard of that one. That's a simple healing technique. It's amazing. I'll teach you right now. You hold your arm like this and put your hand where you want the healing to take place. Has nothing to do with some people in some churches raise their arm. It's not that, but it's about magnifying your power. I teach you all about that. Simple technique, but very powerful. We talk about the power of emotion, of using your emotions and visualization and your imagination, and then setting an intention. How important that is to build those energetic blocks as you're working to help yourself or someone you love or a client that you're working with. I talk about and share with you the importance and how to easily incorporate this to again multiply the effectiveness of the healing work that you do. The power of your emotion is so powerful. It makes all the difference in the world. Talk about pranic healing. Again, it's a way to move energy with your hands. Simple. The way I teach it is simple. Solfeggio frequencies. There's some very powerful, again, with working with tones, with sound, these solfeggio frequencies. I share that information with you, as well as we begin with the healing code, the 4 positions. And I've had people say, oh, I read the book about the healing code, and it's not the emotion code, it's not the body code, it's a whole different process. And they say, yeah, but I've never used it. And when I say, well, do it like this and this, again, they go, oh my gosh, that's powerful. So I introduce you to the healing codes. And your handouts are, you get a healing code worksheet. You get a handout so you can review what the chakras, the auras, the meridians are, or your aura and the meridians. An EFT overview, so step by step, just how to do it to make it so simple. And then the 7 major chakras is another, and to tell you kind of what they do, just a brief overview of what each chakra represents and what emotions, what body systems are going to be connected with that chakra. That's module 3. You do another session with me. In comes module 4. Here we introduce you to your energy medicine toolbox, and this is nothing more than a list. It sounds like nothing more, but it's a list of where you put down, and it comes all the tools that you've already gained, and you realize even at this point in the course you have a lot of tools. So then you have this bullet point of list of different tools that you can use. When somebody comes to you and says, I'm having headaches, you can start muscle testing. Is it on that line? Is it on that line? Oh, it's on that line. And then use that technique to help the person with their problem. So we start building at this point and putting together your toolbox. And let me check my notes here. Okay, so also I talk about repressed emotions, traumas from the past, how much energy it takes. So in this session we're talking about the forgotten healing techniques, and it's just we lose so much energy to unresolved conflicts of the past. And when I say forgotten techniques, there's things that are really old, centuries old, these principles are, but yet we kind of like think, oh, it's old, so it's not cool anymore. We need to look for the latest and the greatest. And the first of these is Ho'oponopono. You may have heard of that. Again, I've had people that when I go through this Ho'oponopono worksheet with them and show them just a simple way to do it, have had fantastic results. Testimonial after testimonial of doing it in the way that I suggest. It's simple, uncomplicated, and it gets great results. It's an ancient Ho'oponopono, just so you know if you're not familiar with it. It's an ancient Hawaiian healing technique of forgiveness, of making things right with one's ancestors. So we go through that in there, and then we talk about forgiveness and the 5 steps to forgiveness. And this is a passionate subject of mine, so passionate that I, of course, wrote a book on forgiveness, Shine a Light Within, 5 Steps to Lighten Your Soul Through Forgiveness. And see, my name right there. We go through the basic overview of this book, of the steps of forgiveness. It's amazing how much that can affect our emotional as well as our physical health by holding on to issues of unforgiveness. So it's a big deal there. And again, these are, when I say forgotten, how many centuries have we been talking about forgiveness on this planet? And yet there's so much there that if we would incorporate is very helpful in the healing arts. So your handouts, you get a handout for Ho'oponopono, the 5 steps to forgiveness. My energy medicine toolbox handout, where you can start building that and then add in what else you have. The grudge hook, which is a forgiveness aspect. And then a worksheet of how to tell if you've actually forgiven someone. Time after time, people say, oh no, I'm good with forgiveness, and they start going through this worksheet and they realize they have a lot of work yet to do. So that's in Module 4. Then you get into Module 5. Module 5 and 6 are reprogramming techniques. And so in Module 5, we start with understanding how you clean out yourself, plug the energy leaks. The healing code that we talked about in Module 3, we go into an advanced, intuitive, a whole nother level of healing code that has come to me to do it in certain ways. And I teach you how to do that and make it even more effective, even more powerful to work faster. Super, super powerful for resolving traumas from the past. And also for resolving ongoing health problems. And I teach you how to do that with this advanced level of the healing codes. I need to take a breath. I've been talking really fast. So the other thing is I teach you some techniques to supercharge your reprogramming techniques. So you learn the method, but then there's certain things that you can do to add little power boosters to that. And I teach you what those are. I'll give you a hint. One of them is incorporating angels to what you're doing. There's several others, but it's supercharging techniques, how to add things to make whatever you're doing even more powerful and more effective. We teach about 4 different levels that you set your intention to heal on. 4 different levels. You'll have to get into the course to get what those 4 levels are. But super powerful. Sometimes we only think, oh, I want this to happen, and we're only hitting one aspect, and there's 3 other areas that are totally untouched because we haven't set an intention to do that or declared that that's what this is for. And I also teach about the domino theory and linking memories. A way where, for example, if somebody spent years of being verbally abused by dad, okay, instead of having to go through and heal every single time that they remember being abused, I teach you how to line that up like dominoes and take them down much faster. And so it's that domino theory, and then linking similar memories, a little bit different concept, but the same thing. Instead of having to do things one by one, you group them together and take care of it in one fell swoop. So these are some other advanced things that we do. Talk about the atonement prayer, how when we've done everything we can, how for me, our Creator is the great healer, and how to turn that over at that point when you've done everything you can. Very powerful. There's a merit, which is a memory erasing random eye technique. That's a technique that I pioneered to help resolve things. Just wipe out memories, wipe out traumas in moments. Very powerful. I teach you how to do that. Again, something that takes less than 20 minutes to learn to do, and you can do it good. It's not complicated, but it works, and that's what That's what I love. So the handouts you get with that are, let me see where I am here. Oh, okay. You get the Intuitive Healing Codes handout, the Supercharging, so you get the different levels, and then the Merit handout. So where you just review your little sheet of paper. So you put all that in a notebook and review that. Oh yeah, I need to use this. And there it is right there. Easy way to review it. Again, I like to make things simple. Module 6 is part 2 of the reprogramming techniques. And in there we're going to do the Divine Healing Codes. Very different from the Healing Codes. This is a 36-page document of a list of different codes, numerical codes that you can use that bring about incredible change in healing. And hardly anybody's heard of this. So this is something that I share too. A whole nother process. How to use a pendulum to release energies, to release pain. We got another one that's called DTB. Change the pattern, drain the battery. Very powerful, one that I pioneered, put together, and it's amazing how fast it works in its simplicity. Talk about the hand technique, which is a whole other technique that I teach that is probably my favorite. I save it till the last because I want people to learn the other ones too, and not just use one technique because it works really, really well. I teach that hand technique in there. I also teach the soul cleansing method. That is a healing process, a healing modality that was given to me through inspiration as I was finishing up my book, Shine a Light Within. As I was finishing this up, I was praying how to help a client with a certain problem, and almost immediately I knew this whole process to do. That's the soul cleansing method. I share that with you. And then there's an inspirational there, and that is in Module 6. The handouts you get is the again that 30+ page energy medicine, the Divine Healing Codes. You get your complete healer's toolbox with a list of everything you've got there, so you can intuitively check and draw from those things whenever you're working on yourself or someone else. There's a handout for the soul cleansing method and a handout for the change the pattern, drain the battery method. So again, that's a lot of stuff there. So that's it for Module 6. Everything that you gain with Module 6 and the handouts. Then we have our final session with me where we make sure that you understand the techniques that you've learned to help make sure what your next steps are, what you're going to do with the gifts that you've developed here and discovered. And then you will receive this nice certificate of completion. And this is signed by me, from me, and All Things Possible. This gives you credibility. You could put it on the wall in your office, give you different JPGs or JPEGs, whatever you call them. So you could put that little badge on your website or whatever to show that you have credibility, that you have been trained. And so this is a great thing to add to show that you know what you're doing, that you are a professional. So that's it with the course right there. But it's simple to learn. And so I invite you to get with me. I'd love to answer your questions, and if it feels right for you, take this course. It will change your life, and you'll change the life of other people as you do this. So I invite you to go to our channel, our website. You're already on our channel, so go ahead and join our channel while you're here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then go to our website, www.allthingspossible.biz. And click through there and find out what me and my wife Chris do, and get a little more information about us. Find out how you can get a hold of us and get in contact with us. I'd love to work with you and share you these things in this Precepts of Light course in energy medicine. Thanks. Have a great day.